Gladys basically pulled up on Alex like Denzel Washington in Training Day. She told Alex, I run shit here. You just live here. Like, people are talking about like the kids missing at 2:17 a.m. Like, if you take 2 and you divide it by 7, and it means this, and then you use the Venn diagram. I was like, oh, for real? I didn't get none of that. It was such cathartic violence. I love cathartic violence. Hi, kids. Do you like violence? Yeah, yeah. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel. If you are not new here, and if you are here, welcome to the channel. I am Nikki, and on this channel, I am talking horror movies, movie reviews, just giving my overall opinion on film. And I also am an aspiring filmmaker. I have my short film Apples that I just finished wrapping on. We are in post-production, so be on the lookout for that. But this video, we are here to talk the new movie Weapons, the new horror movie Weapons. And we're going to get into a few things. We're going to get into, of course, this movie, everything that goes down. This is spoiler filled review of the movie Weapons. So if you haven't seen it and you care about spoilers, why are you here? But if you've seen it or you just don't care about spoilers, we are going to go ahead and get into all things this movie. But we're also going to touch just a bit on the genre semantics argument of all the people saying that Weapons isn't horror. But if you are not familiar, Weapons is the second film from Barbarian writer-director Zach Cregger's. My mind blanked for a minute. Zach Cregger's. And I wasn't the biggest fan of Barbarian. That review is up on the channel. I went to the theaters with my mother to see Barbarian, and we were both very underwhelmed, very disappointed. I was like, babe, what the hell is this? Where are we? Where's the horror? What are we doing? Why am I watching Justin Long singing in the car? Like, I just was not vibing with Barbarian in the slightest. On rewatch, I'm still not 100% vibing with it, but there's some moments that I can appreciate, but it's just not my personal cup of tea. And after Weapons, I do kind of feel like I may not be Zach Cregger's audience. Like, we're not an audience for everything. I'm a certain type of audience. I'm not the audience for every filmmaker. I'm not the audience for every movie, obviously. I don't think anyone is. But I think it may be 2 movies in. It may be a little too soon for me to say I'm not this filmmaker's audience. Like, he's not my cup of tea, because there are some things that I did really like about Weapons. This is going to be a very mixed review overall, because it's a lot I didn't like about Weapons. It's a lot I did like about Weapons. There's some stuff I appreciated about Weapons. There's some stuff that I just, yeah, we're going to get into all of it. But if you are not familiar, let's get into the synopsis. When all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanished on the same night at exactly the same time, a community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. Now, just off rip, that sounds like a really interesting premise. If you're new here, I don't watch previews. I like to go into movies blind. If you're not new here, I'm sure you've heard me say that ad nauseum. I had a streak of about 2 years where I literally didn't watch a trailer at all. When I go to the theaters, I purposely show up late so I miss the trailers. But this year I have seen a handful of trailers, just because the movie theaters just spoils that and they just play trailers. But I have been able to completely avoid marketing, trailers, everything for Weapons. And I will say, I watched the trailer after I watched the movie, and I'm glad I didn't see it. They show way too much. They show the fate of the principal, like you see him all zombied out in the trailer, and I'm just like, why would you ruin that? I kind of feel like we see too much in the trailer. Now, the camera is up here. My notes are down here. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes, okay? The movie is fresh. I'm being refreshing myself with my notes. I have a ton of notes. Actually, I have a ton of thoughts on this movie. And I already said this review would be a mixed bag. There's a lot of stuff I like. There's a lot of stuff I didn't. But something that I did really, really appreciate was I'm literally in the middle of watching a movie and I see Justin Long. I was like, what the I was like, what the is he doing here? I love that so much. And I have literally been saying a lot recently, like just in my tangents of how I don't like modern like movie marketing, how I don't like watching trailers, how I would want full control of the cut of my film trailer from my movie. I believe we should only have teaser trailers and that's it. That's it. Me personally, all I need is the genre, the synopsis most times, or the genre synopsis filmmaker. Like if I know the previous films and or either the, like just certain elements. I don't need a trailer to know if I want to watch a movie. I mean, I'm 40 years old. I've been watching movies forever. I pretty much know my taste. You don't have to give me a lot for me to go watch a movie. 9 times out of 10 if it's horror, I'm just gonna show up. Um But I mean, like film marketing these days, it's like the Scream 7, like take notes, announcing everybody that's going to be in the film. I absolutely loathe casting announcements. I love just randomly seeing Justin Long in here, and I had no clue he was going to be in here. Now, I don't know if he was part of the marketing, but I know from as much as I avoid social media to stay away from spoilers when there's a new movie coming out, I did know the cast. I knew Josh Brolin was going to be in here. This was on the cast I knew because I'm not familiar with the Julie Garner girl. I didn't know my girl from Criminal Minds was going to be in here as the villain. I pretty much just knew Josh Brolin was going to be in here. I knew that Pedro Pascal was casted, dropped out. Some other people was casted, dropped out. They had like a whole restructuring with the cast. But I had no idea Justin Long was going to be here. And I'm just like, can we please take no? Stop doing the cast announcements. Like, I don't know. I hate cast announcements so freaking bad. I don't want to know sometimes. Like, and I'm not saying I want to go into a movie and not know any a person that's in the movie at all. No, because not watching trailers, sometimes I will see like the cast, like, oh, my person in here or actor I like is in here. I want to see it. But we don't have to name every single solitary person who's going to be in the movie. Like, leave some stuff for a surprise. Leave some stuff to be revealed when we watch the movie. I absolutely love that. With weapons, we have a classroom of kids. I think they're first, second, third grade or somewhere in that range. Only this class in this school, only this class ends up disappearing. All but one kid in the class disappears. This is a small town. They're all blaming the teacher who students disappeared. What the hell was going on in that classroom? What did you do? And she feels like the whole town is against her. The whole town hates her. The whole town don't hate her. All the parents hate her. Well, not all the parents. All the parents with the missing kids hate her. And Justin Long is in a movie as one of the parents of the missing kids. It's literal a cameo. He doesn't have like a big part. Justin Brolin. Justin Brolin. Who the hell is Justin Brolin? Who is that? Josh Brolin is the parent of one of the missing kids. And actually, his child is a motherfucking bully. I wish I would ever find out my child's a bully. The way I would knock them through the wall. Okay, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Before we even get into the like all the details of the movies, let me back up. I'm watching the film and I see New Line Cinema on the screen, and I just have to say, after watching this movie, do I think it's perfection? No. But I am very shocked to see New Line Cinema. Like, I'm very shocked to see a major studio back something this original and creative. I have always hated the argument Hollywood is out of ideas. Everything's a remake. Nothing's original. It's all a IP. It's all a sequel. First of all, it's just an inaccurate take. I'm so sorry, but it is. I'm 40 years old and I have literally watched original horror every single solitary year of my life. Without exaggeration, without exception. Obviously, some years there's more than others, but there has literally never been one year of my entire life where there was literal not one original horror movie, not one unique idea. Never. Never. I think if you're only a mainstream audience, if you're only paying attention to the big box office, major studio releases, yeah, you may feel that way. Yeah, you may feel that way, but it's inaccurate. You're just only paying attention to a minuscule market when it comes to horror movies. I mean, original horror ideas is not, it's not lacking at all. But I'm really excited to see that because I was just like, oh, okay, like this isn't A24. Like New Line and let's not mistake, New Line Cinema definitely has a history of really good like horror catalog, but I was just very shocked. I was like, oh, okay, because you know we're really in an independent film like boom. I just was very surprised to see that. And something else that I really love before we really get into the movie, two great female horror characters, horror villains, not two great female horror villains in 1 year with Gladys in Weapons and the lady in Bring Her Back. Now, I didn't really care for Bring Her Back. Oh, I hope y'all can hear me. I've got to pick up my microphone. I didn't really care for the movie Bring Her Back. Oh, speaking of, that's what was wrong with my last video, my 28 days later review. I forgot to turn my microphone on. That's why my sound was so messed up in that video. I went to play that video back and I was like, what the fuck's wrong with the sound? And really, I should have re-recorded it. But yeah, no, I didn't have the energy. I was just like, child, whatever. I'm just gonna let it fly. So yeah, sorry, the audio is really bad in that video. But I have forgot to turn my microphone off. I mean, I forgot to turn it on and just now I forgot to pick it up, but hopefully you can hear me. Love a female villain so freaking bad. And the fact that we got two really great villains this year, even though I didn't like Bring Her Back, I sufficiently hated that lady. So I mean, shout out to you, lady. But getting into Weapons, it opens with narration. So as I'm sitting there watching the movie, honestly, when it first clicked on, I was just like, oh goddamn. I loathe narration in movies. Like I hate narration so bad. It's not even funny. It is so minuscule where it will work for me. And honestly, not even really work for me. Just the movie is so good. I'll just like kind of overlook it and be like, okay, this narration wasn't that bad. The movie is great. This unfortunately isn't one of those movies. It's great. The narration for me in this movie is really, really grating. They have this little kid narrating the movie. The movie first opens up and this kid is talking about 2 years ago, this happened in my town. You wouldn't know it though. The cops couldn't solve the case. The kids never came back. So like the town higher ups buried it or whatever. Little child, shut the hell up. Like, I don't know. I just really hated the narration. They end up where we see stuff happening. The kid is talking over it, like voiceover. And for example, there's a moment where Alex is the kid, the only kid in the class that didn't disappear. And the narrator is saying, like, Alex was questioned by the cops. The teacher, Justine, was questioned by the cops. And I'm like, instead of telling us they were questioned, can we just see the motherfucking interrogation? Like, I don't know. Narration really irks me. And this narration was also really grating because I felt like it was really oddly written dialogue. For example, the narrator tells us that these kids went missing, this investigation happened, the school closed. But after the school had been closed for like a month, they had to open a school because the other kids needed to get the other, damn it, what was the exact wording? Because it was a really, really weird way of wording that the kids needed to get back to school. It was like the kids needed to learn. The kids couldn't tie their shoe. The kids couldn't count from 1 to 2. It was like really odd wording. The kids needed to. Somebody had to teach the kids. The kids had to get back to learning, and it just felt really odd and unnatural wording, especially because the voiceover was a child. And I was just like, kids don't talk like that. Like kids don't talk that way. It was just really, really odd. I'm so mad I can't like remember the exact wording. It was just a really unnatural written dialogue, especially for a kid. Oh my god. My mouth is dry. Jesus. Now, Weapons plays in chapters, which I'm also not the biggest fan of movies that do chapters, but Quentin Tarantino does chapters a lot, and that is literally my favorite writer director. So I mean, it's a case by case basis for me. I'm not the biggest fan. I know structurally Quentin Tarantino is a fan of doing it because he likes to structure his movies like novels. Novels structure their story that way narratively. But I'm not the biggest fan for it in movies. I won't say it always. I just said it's case by case basis for me to like it or not. But it typically it can make for some odd pacing, and Weapons definitely suffers from a pacing issue. The very first chapter was Justine the teacher. That was my least favorite chapter. I'm so sorry. I was honestly sitting in that movie theater for like the first 30 minutes, like, this is so dull. I'm so over this. I was just like, oh my God, this is so lackluster. It opens with Justine, who is the teacher. They're having this meeting at the school the day before the school is about to open back up. All the parents are mad at her. The principal has to usher her out. You feel the parents are acting like a damn angry mob. And that was something else. There was really nothing. There was this tension built where, like I said, those parents were acting like an angry mob. Like, and then Justine like stops at this liquor store after the teacher tells her, like, for your safety, especially go straight home. He asks her, is there anyone you can stay with? And she's like, no. And I'm thinking, baby, you should get a hotel. Like, this is a small town. I'm pretty sure these people know where you live. Like, it is build up of feeling like something is going to happen to Justine, especially after the liquor store. She goes home. There's this sense that someone is watching her, stalking her. Someone knocks at her door, bangs at her door, rings the doorbell. No one's there. Like an idiot, she opens the door, walks outside. I'm like, baby, what? Girl, get the hell in the house and lock the door. Like, what are you going to do if somebody is out there? I really didn't like how that never built to anything. Someone just paints her car. We find out it's Josh Brolin's character, which I understand. You know, I'm starting to see layers of why your son's a bully. But yeah, I don't know. It just kind of felt it was kind of built to it being a lot more dangerous for her than it actually was. And even when she goes to meet with this guy she knows who's a cop, she's like, the whole town is again. It's just like the way it's presented. You would have thought they was about to burn a cross on her lawn. Like, you would have thought something was really about to go down. Even there's a moment where there's a dream sequence and she wakes up in the middle of the night. Like, you thought someone was gonna be in a house. Like, I don't know. I just felt like, baby, you could have just been cruising, because these people was just, they was all barking no bite. Nobody was really about to leapfrog and jump. Like, nobody was gonna buck because nobody was nuck. Like, she was perfectly safe. Like, honestly, she was drinking her alcohol, living her life. But anyway, she's at home. It's supposed to be all this danger because, you know, the parents are mad at her, but her like blinds are open. You can like see through her, see into her. I'm like, bitch, you are not safe. But hey, apparently she was. But one thing that really didn't make sense to me is she really wanted to talk to the one student, Alex, who was the only one who wasn't missing. The principal was telling her it's not a good idea. Leave the kid alone. He's been through enough, etc., etc. But she was so hell bent on talking to Alex. She was stalking the kid, followed him home from the bus, knocked on his front door, and then when nobody answered the door, she trespassed. This is what really be tripping me out in movies. It reminds me of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, only white people will walk up in somebody's house just because they don't answer the door. Walk up in somebody's backyard, peek through their blinds because they don't open the door. But if I don't open the door, if I don't answer the door, then I just don't want to talk to you. That doesn't give you the right to bust up in my house or my property. I just thought that was it. Like, who does that? It just felt a little too over the top, because before she stalks Alex is in no danger. Like, there's really no reason, no legitimate reason for her to be this overzealous that she just has to be like so gung-ho to talk to Alex. Alex is fine, baby. You know, like, the peeking through the windows, the just when she just went through the opened the gate to the backyard, I just thought that was really, really strange. That was really odd. It just was not that serious. And also, it was really giving me like, you're not the do-gooder you come off to be, because you're making it seem like it's way more about you and less about Alex. Because her whole thing was, I just want to make sure he's okay. Like, I just want to talk. But this was like beyond. It really felt like it was more about her, because even when she stalks the kid, he literally is like, I gotta go home, like, leave me alone. And she's still, hey, Alex, hey, wait a minute. Bitch, leave him alone. Like, I don't know. I didn't like it. The chapter for me with Justine, and you know what? I also feel like structurally it just didn't work, because Justine was so far, like, the movie plays obviously as a mystery, And I do like that the story unfolds, but I am the type of audience, if there is anything you can omit from a movie and it makes no never mind to the plot, I kind of think it's unnecessary. This all made no never mind. Like it just kind of did. The chapter on Justine is so far away from the mystery. Nothing is really revealed or solved through Justine's eyes, that for me it just felt really lackluster and uninspiring, and it just really felt flat. I just really wasn't into it. But I will say, well intended elementary, like just school teacher with a drinking problem is a really freaking interesting little archetype for your character. Because baby was alcoholic. She wasn't one of those, oh, she likes a drink kind of person. No, she's an alcoholic. 100%. But I also feel like she got on my nerves too, because I don't know if writers just don't know how to really give us a conflict that warrants a teacher doing all this. It really reminded me of that extra earnest, do good teacher in the movie Cobweb, who was all worried about her student and went his house. Like, I don't know, it just be feeling so over the top. I just be like, baby, report it, whatever. But like, why are you going to kids' house? Like, I don't know. It just felt, especially Justine. I don't. I'm not even going to talk about Cobweb, but it just reminded me of the teacher in Cobweb. But it just felt really over the top for Justine. But I will say, when it came to the teacher character, I do love the fact that even though I wasn't enamored with her, and that was particularly because, like I said, it just felt like a lackluster chapter for me. I do really love that she wasn't this little perfect female character. She was like just a little damsel. She was very flawed, and I absolutely love a flawed female character. She was having an affair. She was alcoholic. Like, she baby was messy. Baby was trouble. She now all adults are responsible for their actions. So the cop who was going to his AA meetings and not drinking alcohol ended up falling off the wagon because she invited him out to the bar. He is fully responsible for his actions, but she absolutely kind of peer pressured that man into falling off the wagon with her. So I did appreciate that stuff when it comes to her character, and especially because I feel like just society has this unnatural uh feeling that you're supposed to have these perfect victims. And even when we think about like our final girls in horror, they tend to be an archetype of like a good girl. Obviously there was the trope of it being like the virginal girl, but the final girl does tend to be like the everyman, kind of cookie cutter, cut out kind of character. So I do like the fact that we got this really flawed human female character. Now, if I am remembering the chapters in good order, I want to say when I finally started to really get into it, when I thought the movie hit a good flow, was when we got Josh Brolin's chapter. And I did enjoy the cop and the little basehead, but again, it it was comical. It was humorous. It was enjoyable. Great acting. I definitely kind of didn't like the cop. I'm so sorry. I didn't like him. Um, but I will say, having your working for your father-in-law, not a good idea, especially when you like beat a suspect in the head and your boss knows it, and he trying to tell you he gonna help you bury it, but then he found out you cheated on his daughter or whatever. But like a whole mess of problems. But luckily he died, so he didn't have to worry about it. But again, didn't really add to the horror story for me. Um the base had definitely 100% added to unveiling the mystery and how the story rolled out because these kids are missing. It's been a month. No one knows where they are. Josh Brolin is going to the police station, blaming Justine, but the police chief, not the police chief, the detective, police chief, whoever the hell he was talking to, child, it goes to tell him we've, extensively looked into this woman. She has nothing to do with it. What do you think, like, we're missing? What do you think she could possibly tell us? Um, and the base head is breaking into houses, breaking into cars, trying to get money. He ends up breaking into the house of Alex and he finds all of those kids in the basement. 100% we get certain layers peeled back, and this definitely makes a difference in the plot of the story. And it is good writing with how it's all fleshed out, with the way that the cop and his base head is interconnected, and how the base head literally don't really kind of care that them kids is in that basement. If we honest, he go to damn Hawk and Pawn the stuff, just whatever. And then he sees that there's a $50,000 reward for the kids, and that's why he goes to try to go to the cops. But Justine's little side piece sees him and races him down because they already had a interaction. He said, "I better not ever see you, or homie, it's gonna be some problems in the streets." He leads that cop to the house where Gladys is holding these kids. So it is good storytelling in how it is fleshed out and how it unfolds. Like, it gets peeled back. And it was definitely much more enjoyable chapters than Justine. I'm so sorry, but I feel like I didn't really start to really sit up in my seat until Josh Brolin's chapter. It also plays into why I don't like stories being told this way, because it can teeter on feeling repetitive, because you're seeing the exact same scenes, you're hearing the exact same dialogue, you're just seeing it from a different perspective, from a different character. When they jump to the cop, we see the exact same interaction with him meeting Justine at the bar. We hear the exact same dialogue as when we saw it through her chapter. And then now with Josh Brolin, we see the exact same meeting at the school before the school opens. And when we were saw it through Justine eyes, baby, I know Josh Brolin's motherfucking voice. Like, I knew that was him. Then we have to see the same thing again. Like, I guess it's not the biggest deal, but it can teeter on feeling a little repetitive. It's like I don't know. I don't want to be too harsh, but it reminds me. Was I the only person who saw that movie way back in the day called Vantage Point, where it was literal? This is how that narrative was. There was like a bombing or something, and we saw the exact same thing happen from like 6 different characters POV. That movie was irksome, and in the way we tell this story in Weapons is a little irksome, but I don't want to be too harsh, because I did really enjoy when we started following Josh Brolin, just seeing like his character and that deterioration and breakdown of, even though we don't get to see the pre losing his child, just seeing the aftermath of it, seeing how he can't even really function at work. He's ordering the wrong paint, he's ordering the wrong stuff, he's doing all the wrong stuff, sleeping in his child's bed. So I did really enjoy him. And mystery wise, it all starts to unfold a lot more through Josh Brolin when he's looking at the Ring camera and security tape of his child and someone else's child that went missing, and seeing, pulling out this map, because he's what you call them people? What do people call? They be building houses and stuff. Them people. Yeah, he one of them people. Uh, he pulls out this map and he drawing all these, diagrams, and the kids ran this way and what's over here. You know what I mean? Which I don't know why the cops didn't say, hey, where the kids direction they ran to, whatever. Because it just but anyway, it's a lot of stuff starts unfolding once we get through Josh Brolin's chapter. So it feels a little more like exciting. It feels more like, okay, now we're really in the meat of why we're here. You know what I mean? But Weapons is a very slow burn type of story, which honestly for me, I'm not the audience for. I'm never the biggest fan of a slow burn. Um The only way it really works for me is if I have some really engaging characters and some really dynamic writing that I'm like just really into the character work, and I'm just like, oh, not 100% here, because like I said, it starts with Justine chapter, and I just wasn't very engaged. It was a little lacking, but Josh Brolin's chapter definitely starts to really pick it up character wise, because this is a big just character study with all these different characters and how they all come together with this central mystery. But I will also say this is one of those movies that I kind of hate to give my thoughts on after only one watch, because this really feel like I'm itching to rewatch this, because just the type of honest I am, sometimes I have to be prepared for the type of movie I'm going to see. So going into a movie blind for me works really well 8 times out of 10, but it's those 2 times out of 10 where if I did have a little bit of heads up of what type of movie I was going into, I could kind of appreciate it more. Like, am I the only person who, like, I have to kind of be in the mood for certain types of movies? You know what I mean? It's like, as much as I love There Will Be Blood or No Country for Old Men, I don't go in with the same mind as if I'm like watching Demon Knight or Wishmaster or Interstellar. You know what I mean? Like, I have to be in a certain mind frame for what I'm about to see. Like, am I about to see just a brainless good time? Am I about to see something like 12 Monkeys? Do I need to be paying attention? Am I going to have to, like, my brain? I don't know. Like, I have to be in the mindset for certain stuff. Like, I personally feel like I enjoy Sinners a lot more because somebody I know saw it before me and kind of gave me a heads up. Like, hey, don't go in expecting this to be like straight horror. It's going to be more like drama storyline at the top. Then we'll get, and I was like, oh, okay. I really love that movie, and I honestly feel like I wouldn't have loved Sinners if I didn't have that heads up. If I went in, because again, I go into stuff blind. I thought Sinners was like just a vampire horror movie. Like that's the only thing I knew going, like, when I was about to go in. So I do feel like on rewatch, knowing how this is structured may help me process it a lot better enjoyment wise. And I also feel like a rewatch will do me good because I also feel like it's just a lot that I probably just didn't get. Which, again, I said this in my other review. I don't think the whole "you just didn't get it" bears any never mind on enjoying a movie. Like, I feel like the filmmaker should give you everything you need to enjoy the movie. And yes, you can break stuff down and dots can connect on subsequent watches or whatever, but the enjoyment should be there. But there's a lot here that I feel like I'm just like, I saw people talking about like what the movie was saying, and it's about school shootings, and I was like, oh, it is? I didn't get none of that. Oh, it's about what? Oh, this was supposed to mean something? I was like, people are talking about like the kids missing at 2:17 a.m. Like, if you take 2 and you divide it by 7, and it means this, and then you use the Venn diagram. I was like, oh, for real? I didn't get none of that. I didn't get none of that. And then even the whole parasitic theme, which I can tell, like, when there's a lot of that in the story. There's a lot of adults having vices, whether it's alcoholism, whether it's drug addiction, whether it's infidelity, whatever. Josh Brolin character and his um the principal and his husband, they're watching a program, and we hear information about this parasite that's attacking the ants and making their body do stuff. And Gladys, with her witchcraft, is a sort of parasite that takes people's bodies over and makes them do stuff. Even the drug addict is sort of like a parasite to his family, leeching for money and stuff like that. So there's a lot that I feel is layered through here that I just, but again, I don't think that has any bearings on the enjoyment. I just think on a second viewing, I think I'll get a lot more out of the story. But something I do want to touch on is people saying that this isn't horror. And I do think that multi-genre movies are a little lost on people, like the art of that. Like, is this a straight horror? No, I think this is like mystery, drama, dark comedy, horror. I do think if I were to just read the script, like just story wise, I definitely thinks it leans more into dark comedy, drama, mystery. Yeah. But the visual storytelling is where I think it adds the horror elements, but also story wise, our villain is a horror villain. It's a witch. And I also feel like for me, horror includes like dark. Like I need my horror to be dark. This is a very dark, bleak story, mainly because hello, it deals with kids. And that's always a cheap way to make something way more disturbing or elicit feelings from the audience. 9 times out of 10, most audience, I don't care who you are going to be sympathetic to kids. Like things, if you take the exact same scene that happens to a kid and you have it happen to like an adult, more people will probably get an emotional reaction to if it happens to a child. Something happening to a kid, something happening to you, like people that are just easily sympathetic to most. Like there's a scene when we get to Alex chapter, which phenomenal fucking chapter. When we get to Alex chapter, Gladys takes over. You can see Alex got a little spunk. He's trying to be like, what's wrong with my parents? Like, what did you do? She goes to try to tell him to do something. He kind of standing there real butt, like, but you don't tell me what to do. Like, who are you? But when Alex is sitting there and he has to watch his parents stab themselves over and over again with that fork, like this is freaking dark. Like Alex having to live in that freaking haunted house, like having to live in that house of horror and then go out into the world and go to school and just act perfectly normal. Also, the fact that all of these kids are victimized, all of like this is horror. Like that's freaking bleak. Like that's freaking dark. But what I will say, another gripe of mine is I say a lot on this channel that I don't like watching teens and horror. Like I don't like watching anything with teenagers. You're very hard pressed. Like it has to be something to really draw me. I'm still trying to work up the strength to watch Clown in the Cornfield. Like I really want to see that movie, but I'm like, oh, teenagers. And my biggest gripe for why I don't like to watch anything with teenagers is because anytime you have school age kids or teens, it's like writers have no original thought in their peasy little heads for dealing with like we get the same exact trope of teen child characters in every single solitary time we're going to see them. There's always a bully. The kid is always getting bullied, and it's like I'm so over it. Like PSA to writers, get new material. It's so overdone and annoying. Like you can find other ways to portray that your character is a loner, or like we don't need to do it's so frustrating. But Alice was getting bullied. Duh, because apparently like all kids are like, y'all, I'm so fucking sick of the bully trope. um but Alex has his Aunt Gladys come, and shout out to my girl Jane from Criminal Minds giving a freaking master class on acting, and for literally giving us one of the most iconic horror villains as Aunt Gladys. Like, love Aunt Gladys down, but we are told that Aunt Gladys is family, but we're told this in kind of different ways. I think one character says she's Alex's mom's great aunt, and I think another character says she's Alex's aunt, like Alex's mom's sister. Well, she seemed, I mean, a lot of people I was a teenager when my little sister was born. Like a lot of siblings have age gap, but this is a big age gap. Like I just was like, I don't know. Alex's mom gave me maybe early 30s. Aunt Gladys gave me late 80s. Like but I personally feel like, because we get information that she's like this estranged family member. She's a great aunt. She's a sister. I don't think she's actually family. And also, we get the line when she talks to the principal Which, how the hell you talking to somebody that ain't even on the list of like emergency like, bitch, I don't know. Anybody could have walked up in his office. I don't know why he was giving her all that information. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's not what I'm on. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so scatterbrained. She says the line about a touch of consumption. Like, lady, what era do you think this is? We're not in the Robert Eggers movie. Like, we're in modern day. Touch of consumption. I personally feel like this witch is like, I don't know, a few hundred years old. She did whatever spell to make Alex's mom think they're related, but I don't think so. I think she targeted them. She tells Alex she thought, because she's dying, she thought that his parents would make her better, but she moves on to the kids. I think she targeted them. I don't think that's her family. But something I was a bit confused about was about how long it take for your motherfucking magics to work. Because a whole month passed and Gladys was still in that house with them kids in that basement, like feeding off of them. How long it take you to feed off these kids and suck up their life force? Like, I feel like in a month she should have been gone. Case never solved, like the voiceover tells us at the top. Like, she should have just been gone. Like, I don't know what was taking her so long to cure herself of dying and drink these kids' life force. I mean, a month seems like a long time to me to be drinking people life force. I don't know, but Alex was definitely the most interesting chapter for me. It was definitely the most horror laced chapter because obviously it really deals with Gladys, the witch, and all of these horrific things that's happening. Of course, it peels back the layers of the mystery for the audience. It pretty much solves the mystery we know because it starts off with what the hell happened to these kids, which is a very engaging mystery. Like, how the hell every single child in the class disappeared, ran out the house at the same damn time? Nobody snatched the kids up. They all ran out, all except like, it was a very interesting mystery. I will say I wasn't the biggest fan of the first act of the movie. I feel like this was a type of movie that got so much better as it progressed. It just kept getting better and better and better, and I kept sitting up more and more and more at alert as the movie went on. Love the third act. I'm a stickler for a really great third act. I'm a stickler for a finale. I always say your third act can even, the way you end your movie, it can either save your movie or it can tank your movie. Because I tend to walk out of a movie fresh on the emotion of how it ended. Meaning, if I feel like a movie kind of sucked, but it ends on a real high note, I'm gonna watch it, walk out like, oh shoot, that was good, and then, oh, that was great. Because you left me with a really great taste in my mouth. But if I'm really enjoying a movie and it ends really horribly, now I'm walking out like, damn, that's how they're gonna end it. You know what I mean? So I feel like it can either save it or it can tank it. This third act for me saved it. Like, it really picked it up. But this feels like kind of like the ending of the substance, where it seems to have really divided people. Some people absolutely loved the ending. Some people absolutely hated the ending, just like the substance. But for me, the same way I felt with the substance ending was a high point to me. Like, a lot of people said it lost it at the end. I thought it brought it all home at the end. That's what I felt with this ending. I feel like this was the perfect villain comeuppance. I'm very much that person that, oh, because baby, Gladys is motherfucking evil. Uh, like, she really did some low down horrid stuff, especially poor Alex. So I thought this was, I am that audience that really wants to see somebody get their comeuppance. And I thought this was a really great villain comeuppance. It was such cathartic violence. I love cathartic violence. Hi kids, do you like violence? Yeah, yeah. I also felt like it was a great blend of like that dark comedy, um, just seclusion. What conclusion? Conclusion. Um, where Alex is able to, he has seen Gladys do her witch blood stick magic, and he used hair magic too. You go and he uses it, and it turns all the kids against Gladys, and she races out the house. They chase her, and to me, it was so good. Like, her, first of all, Gladys' performance, the way she's screaming, like this big. bad is screaming like this, running all through the neighborhood, running through other people's houses. The kids chasing her, busting through walls, busting through windows. It was really giving like what was that movie with Brad Pitt with them zombies, and the zombies were like real rabid fast zombies busting through stuff, or like Train to Busan. Like it was really giving me like crazy zombies busting through stuff, and her like screaming, and how they elongate. This was a real like elongated, stretched chase scene. It was so freaking good to me. I was in there. I was just sitting there like, what the? I thought it was really good. And before even getting to that, that's just like the end, but just the third act when so once the crackhead finds the kids, tries to go to the cops, the officer gets him, he goes to tell the officer, I know where the kids are. The officer goes to check it out by himself, and of course walks into the house, gets turned into one of Gladys' zombies, and we get a great scene where the crackhead is sitting in the back seat of the car, handcuffed behind his back. The cops start walking to the car, pull his little ass out, drags him out. And what is happening in this neighborhood? Because I was like, don't nobody hear the bass head screaming, getting dragged along the yard. It was a good little ways that he got dragged from the car to inside the house. Ain't nobody hear nothing, say nothing, call about it, whatever. Um, but we have now when Josh Brolin character is angry and wanting to attack Justine's character, he goes to confront her at the gas station, and she gets attacked by the principal, who has now been turned into a zombie, into this heat-seeking missile sent to go kill her. And I kept saying, because when he first comes, he's running in the exact same way those kids were, but it was Josh Brolin's back, and only Justine could see him. And I was the whole time this whole chase is happening, I just kept thinking, man, I need his character to see how this guy is running so he can know like the teacher not involved. That he, but yeah, of course, the writers, of course, the filmmaker, like Josh Brolin character connected those dots. Like, hey, he was running the same way the kids was when they ran up out the house. So Josh Brolin and Justine end up working together. He's like, hey, can I show you something? Shows her the map. And he has these places like circle, like the kids ran here. And that's when she says, that's where Alex's house is. So they go to Alex's house. They see the cop car sitting outside. And I was always a little confused on how Gladys just knew when people were outside the house, because when Justine is stalking the little kid, she sits outside the house in her car, and like a big idiot, her doors are unlocked. Even though this, I said that was really a letdown to me. All this like tension of the town being after. But what the hell is your dumbass sitting here with doors unlocked? Why is the doors unlocked, girl? Freaking stupid. But they pull up out here. They're not even out here very long. They literally pull up, have a little discussion. Oh, the cops are already here. What should we do? Next thing you know, the front door opens, and the cop she knows is motioning for them to come in. I was just very much like, how does Gladys always know when someone is just outside the house? Like they're like up the block. They're not parked in front of the house. But anyway, they go inside. There's this salt down where once you step over it, now they're heat-seeking missile attacking everybody. This was a really great scene. Like, just this whole third act was really, really good to me. And it was finally, for me, obviously, they really picked up the pace here because we're in a climax of the story. So it all just really, really worked for me. But speaking of the comedic, dark comedy conclusion, there were some really good comedic moments here. And let's get into some of my favorites. And if you've been on my channel, you've heard me say a lot, I don't like comedy horror. I don't like comedy in my horror. I want my horror to just be really dark and bleak. Like, I don't want any, like, typically when you have comedy and horror, it's to like alleviate the tension. I'm always like, no, I don't want to alleviate the tension. I want to sit in that tension. I actually really enjoyed the humor here. And I also really enjoyed it. And another reason I don't care for comedy is because I just really don't be finding stuff funny. Like, I just don't. Comedy has always been my least favorite genre. I do have a few gems, like a few comedy movies that I love, but it's a real bottom of the barrel genre for me personally. But I was very surprised at how much I genuinely like laughed out loud during this movie. But I also feel like there were natural comedic moments that didn't alleviate the tension. It made sense. For example, there's a moment. Oh shoot. For example, there's a moment where Josh Brolin's character has a nightmare, and we'll get into the dream child, but he has a nightmare, and when he wakes up, he's like, "What the?" Like that's a comedic moment, but that felt like a natural moment. And as a horror audience, we always complain about horror characters doing stuff that's not like natural. Like no one would do that. This doesn't feel like real people. That felt like a natural, real person's reaction. So I feel like it didn't feel like just sticking comedy in. It just felt like natural progression of the characters moving through this story made for some comedic moments. Even with Gladys running, of course, now that her power's been turned against her, what the hell she gonna do but fucking run? Like it just felt like these were natural moments that just so happened to be comedic. But let's get into some of my favorite comedic moments. First of all, Gladys talking about TB, Black Plague, consumption disease. I was just in there like, what the? But y'all know what was funny to me? That wasn't even like a line. When we see the principal at home with his husband and they're watching TV and the husband brings him a tray of hot dogs. It's like a tray of like 12 hot dogs, some chips, and like this white dip, presumably like ranch or something, and they have these raw carrots. When you get this whole tray, your gluttonous tray, and the very first thing the principal reaches for is a carrot, that was funny. That made me, for real, sir. Sir, for real, the first thing you're gonna reach for is a carrot. I'm not buying it. I just thought that was so freaking funny. But also, when Justine gets attacked at the gas station, literal running for her life. Like the principal is zombied out, trying to murder her. She's outside pumping her gas. She's trying to run away, crawls under the car, crawls into the store. And when she goes to try to go out the back door and it has this lock on it, I'm like, girl, get away from the door. Keep running. You cannot get through that lock. But she kept pulling on it. But she's in the store literally running for her life. And the cashier is like, get out of my store. And she's like, can you help me? That was hilarious. Because, sir, what do you mean? Get out your store. Baby, I'm trying not to die. Also, the drug addict zombie trying to kill Josh Brolin every single time that Josh Brolin would do some freaking football or wrestling move, just boom, with the freaking, every time he would think that drug addict zombie was down, he keep popping up and it was like boom, down, hilarious, hilarious. And it didn't overstay its welcome. I feel like they just kept doing it to where like it was good. It wasn't like, oh, okay, now this is getting old. But those were some of my like favorite little funny moments. Gladys is literally my number one. I don't want to jump off a cliff because y'all know I always go real over the top. Gladys is my number one favorite character of the past like 25 years. Like I'm trying to really think. Like, I mean, I freaking love Gladys. Her overall look, the costumes, the wig, the makeup. Oh, I loved when she goes to see the principal and her red lipstick is all smudged. I was like, baby, you look a mess. But I feel like it is a real lost art with filmmakers of how much wardrobe, makeup, hair plays into the characterization of a character. It just felt like such intention and thought put into Gladys' look. I loved it so freaking much. And baby, outside of the look, just the character, how the character is written, the performance, I love, like, I am so obsessed. Like, oh my God, my little heart is a flutter. I'm so in love with Gladys. One of my favorite moments is the heartbreaking moment I told y'all about between Gladys and Alex when his parents were stabbing themselves. But it was also my favorite moment because Gladys basically pulled up on Alex like Denzel Washington in Training Day. She told Alex, I run shit here. You just live here. Like, it was so freaking good. Something else that I really loved in this movie was really gruesome. There was some great gore. There was some great violence. I love violence. There was some real, like, no holds bar violence in this movie. When Gladys pops up at the principal's house and asks for the bowl of water, which if somebody come to my house asking for a motherfucking bowl, I would have said no. Like, I'm not, and it's not even because I'm not finna sit here and act like, oh, I would know some. I wouldn't know what the hell the bitch about to do witchcraft. But that's just I'm because I literally would have been like, are you about to slap the water up like a dog or a cat? Why am I wouldn't have just given her. I would have been asking some questions because that's very strange. That's not like, oh, I don't want to drink out of a paper straw. Like, this is strange that you need water and you're asking for a bowl. No, ma'am. But when she comes to their house and she does her little blood witch magic, and she has the principal turn into the heat seeking missile and kill his husband by bashing the husband's skull in with his own head. Baby, using your head as the weapon to bash, like, you use your skull to bash in a skull, and they showed it. And if I remember the camera work clearly here, I feel like we see this low shot. He's obviously on the ground, but we also see like Gladys shoes, and the camera panned over to the aftermath of the bashed in skull. Like, his skull was deconstructed. His skull was demolished. Also, the scene where the kids attack Gladys, they finally catch her. One girl was the MVP. She the one caught Gladys, and all the other kids were real far behind. But once the other kids caught up, they were eating Gladys alive. I honestly grimaced and was like, oh, hell, this is crazy. And the seeing it all, gore hound that I am, I grimaced at that scene. There was, but that was so good. And then the layer on top was the fact that it was kids doing this violence. Ooh, chef's kiss. Uh, sorry, I'm morbid. But also, when Justine is attacked by the zombified cop and she's getting strangled and trying to fight for her life, and she picks up this potato peeler and peels the cop face, it was so reminiscent of the cheese grater scene in Evil Dead Rise, and stuff that when we get a scene like the cheese grater scene or this potato peeler scene, when it's stuff like that, I don't even know what to call it, because it's not just stuff happening to skin. It's literally when you like slice skin, it's like it's visceral to me. Like, I don't, you know how some people don't like teeth stuff or mouth stuff? That's how I feel with the skin being grated. It's grating. It's like I can feel, I'm like, ugh. Oh, I loved it. Now, I will also say, when it comes to the comedic tone, the dark comedy, I know I'm gonna catch hate for this because, horror fans be jumping on bandwagons and they want to all act like certain movies have to just be praised above all. I am not much of a fan of Freddy Krueger because, like I said, I don't really like comedy in my horror. I loved Freddy Krueger growing up, but as I like grew up and started like really, I guess, getting like your taste, I really don't like the camp nature, the comedic nature of Freddy Krueger. But I fucking love the camp of Gladys. Like, it worked so well. And it worked so well to me because it just felt like a natural, elderly, kooky kind of camp that fit the character. But it also worked for me because it was like these two sides to a coin. And I feel like I know an elderly person that's like a witch like Gladys, like for real. Like, she could be just like, you think she just a sweet little old kooky little lady, but she can get real motherfucking devilish. There was this real, like, sinister, genuinely sinister, unnerving nature to Gladys that was mixed with that camp, that kooky old batty old lake. I freaking loved it. I also love witchcraft horror so freaking much. And I particularly love the way it's done here. It just feels really cool. And I love that it's pretty ambiguous. Like the audience is just like knows just as little as the characters do, just as little about Gladys's powers and witchcraft as the unsuspecting characters that fall victim to her witchcraft. She comes in with this tree, and I noticed the tree, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool," but we don't know if that tree is fun. And even when she's with the husband, and we're first really seeing, I think that was when we were first seeing the actual ritual of how she does this blood magic. If I remember correctly, that's when we're first seeing it. She takes this bowl of water and she pricks her finger to make it bleed with the twig, and she, what does she wrap around it? I think she put her blood on it, wrapped a string of hair around it, broke the twig. It just felt really cool. Like, I really loved the witchcraft here, and it felt really original. And I love that we didn't have to over explain anything about it. Like, it just really worked for me. I will say another gripe I have in my little mix back and forth of loving and not liking certain things. I will say I really wish horror writers would make it more of a habit to create characters who are more aware of horror movies. Like, not even really being meta, but when there are certain things that happen in a movie and you're feeling like anyone who's aware of horror movies in any way kind of would have a different reaction. When Justine and Josh Brolin's character goes in that house and sees that salt, I think Josh Brolin was about to run back over to tell Justine not to step over the salt. She steps over it and not giving it a second thought. And I feel like if you've seen any type of horror, if you've seen the skeleton key, you know salt just laying down in the light. And this wasn't like just a little pinch of salt. Just, oh, somebody must have just wasted some salt. No, this was a thick salt line. And she just walked like she was oblivious to it. I don't know. I just feel like there should have been a little trepidation, a little like, what is this? I just wish we had more just like horror aware characters. You know what I mean? But I think I touched on how the biggest weakness for me with weapons is we do not have a Gladys chapter. And like I said, I'm happy we didn't over explain the witchcraft, or we didn't need any backstory of how is Gladys a witch? Where did her powers come from? How does this magic work? We don't need all that. But I absolutely feel like the movie is hurt from not having a Gladys chapter. I would have liked to see Gladys before she pulls up to the house. It's just lacking for me structurally to not include that. Now let's also get into the dream sequences, because if it is anything I hate in horror, it's dream sequences. I hate a dream sequence. I hate a dream fake out. I just feel like it's always a cheap way for filmmakers to like do something they don't really have the guts to do, i.e. the type of movies where they like kill a character but it's just a dream, the character isn't really dead. um I These were cool scenes, but the dreams in the horror, it don't work for me. Justine is asleep in bed and we have a dream sequence with her where I think she saw Gladys on the ceiling. It was like a jump scare moment, and it we didn't need this narratively. We didn't need it plot wise. Like, Josh Brolin had a dream too, and he saw Gladys' face. He saw this gun floating over a house, and it was just, first of all, how did or why did Justine and Josh Brolin character even be able to manifest? Because when you dream, that's your subconscious. How could their subconscious manifest someone that they don't know Gladys? They've never seen her. They don't know she exists. Why would she be in their dreams? I don't know. I just the dream sequences just really didn't work for me. Like I said, it just always feels like a cheap way for the filmmakers to do something um that doesn't really happen in the story. Also, when we get the conclusion of the film, well, when the film starts, they say the narration tells us this case was never solved, the kids never came back, and in the end, the narration tells us that Alex's parent, like Alex, goes off with another aunt. This one, a nice one. His parents are locked up in some kind of mental institution because we're told they are still being fed soup by someone, just not Alex. So presumably they're in a mental institution. They're still kind of catatonic. The kids are never the same. We're told that some of the kids eventually start to speak, and again, I think this narration is from like 2 years later. um Gladys controls your body, not your mind. And I feel like it leaves the victims really traumatized by what it is they've been made to do. So presumably the kids never come back because who the kids were when they left were not who they were when we find them. Like there's someone completely different. And I also feel like that adds to that dark, bleak horror tone. The husband, the principal having a bash in the person he loves skull. Like I feel like they're in there and they're aware, but she's controlling their body, so that makes it sad. But I did this was a mixed review. It was a mixed bag, but I did really enjoy Weapons because, like I said, it ended for me on a high note. I did end up giving Weapons 3 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. The pacing in the first act just really hurt it for me. Not enough horror kind of hurt it for me, but this is a horror movie, horror mystery. And that missing Gladys chapter is just a little glaring hole for me. Like I said, it didn't need to be anything extravagant. We don't need everything laid out for the audience. I don't need to know, too much, but I just feel like I wish. I mean, we got a lot of Gladys obviously in this movie. We got a lot of her in the Alex chapter. I just really wanted a Gladys chapter, but thank you so much for watching the video, supporting the channel. Please make sure you like this video, make sure you are subscribed, and comment down below. Let me know that you agree or disagree with my thoughts. I would love to hear other opinions. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.